Hello and welcome to the GameBrew Podcast, episode 37. I am your host, Ian Gandalf the Grey Richard, and I am joined by Chris Radagast the Brown Wrights.
You know, I didn't really like how they portrayed him in the movies.
Yeah. Dan Saruman the White Rats.
Yo, I promise I will not betray you. Just so you know, not a traitor.
Do you have your fingers crossed behind you? Have your fingers crossed behind your back.
Hey, listen, I do not have my fingers.
What's that weird eye behind you?
Don't worry about it.
Allison Galadriel Vandevender.
I'm so happy I'm Lady of the Light. It makes me really, really warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, I think it makes the whole, Middle Earth warm and fuzzy. And Will Tom Bombadil Shell. That's Will Tom Bombadil Shell.
Yeah, I'm here. Just a little. I had to look this up because I couldn't remember who it was. Little forest dude, just a supporting character. I'm around for like.
He's basically a god, dude. Come on.
I'm around for like 20
He's kind of
pages
one
of
of
the
the
book,
coolest.
and then you go on to Mount Doom without me, and I don't even reappear at the
You
Return
do
of the
convince
King.
the hobbits to frolic naked in the
Yeah,
fields.
but I'm
for
not
a
even
while.
there at the Return of the
important.
King, so it's fine. It's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Sorry, you're just a wood god.
I'm just.
Cool.
Sorry, you're in charge of nature.
Yep.
And shit.
Yeah, I'll be over here.
It's an important
Next to
20
my oak
pages.
tree.
All right, that is enough. We also have a special guest this week, Corey Brennan, who runs the streaming community over at VGZ.cx. Welcome, Corey.
Hi, thanks for having me on. Yeah, we've been streaming since 2009, so I have some stories related to that.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm happy to be on, especially on a podcast that I've been familiar with for a while due to my familiarity with two of the people on this podcast.
That's me.
Ian,
I'm
who is-
important.
Ian, who is
What?
who is Corey?
What do you mean?
Like, who is Corey? Like, what character is Corey? He didn't get
Oh.
a character.
No, I didn't give him a character because
I
he's sort of
feel
like
like-
special.
I feel like he can be Frodo because we're bringing him in on this.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You're the chosen one, Corey.
Oh, man. I mean, I've had experience throwing rings into things, so this sounds like it'll be perfect.
Similarly, I would.
the
I
only
would
We've got a
other
job
one
for
left
you.
is-
DC Dubs, you should totally let me hold that ring that you have.
No,
Similarly.
I want to hold it.
Corey,
You've
I
got
just,
let me
Frodo
hold
or
it.
Sean Astin. Those are the only two left. That's all you got.
I just want to say that like Gandalf, said, keep it secret, keep it safe. I have something similarly important to say to you at the beginning of this journey, which is don't fuck this up for everyone.
Yay!
It's important, but also give me that ring.
All right, so this week in the first half of the podcast, we will discuss our first online gaming experiences. And then in the second half, we're going to talk about streaming from a streamer's perspective and get Corey's expertise. But first, it's time for a beer. Chris, what are we drinking this week?
Firestones. Walker
Firestone.
Nitro Merlin. Oh, is that why you chose all the wizards?
That's why I chose all the wizards.
That makes
drinking
sense.
Nitro Merlin. Yeah.
So clever.
Everybody's magical. So, can you walk us through the instructions here?
All right, so these are nitro beers. So they have a little pouring instructions. So you have to master the surge pour, and this is actually
Wait.
on the can.
Hold on.
You have
First
to
of all,
master
before
this-
you talk about the pour, what does a nitro beer mean? I don't understand why it has to require a special pour.
It means it's infused with nitrogen. Bubbles.
Well, explain it to the listeners too. Come on, man.
So nitro beer is the addition of nitrogen to a beer, which gives much smaller bubbles, creating a smoother, creamier experience.
There you go.
There
This
you go.
definitely
So
is a creamy beer.
GameBrew
did
facts.
you pour it hard? You got to pour it hard,
Had.
2,
like that.
Turn it upside down.
3. Are those full revolutions or half revolutions?
I think they're more like barrel rolls.
1, and then 2, and then 3, right?
And then
No, you do like 1,
Oh.
2.
So that's a
3.
full
So
rotation.
then I know our
Full
listeners
rotation.
cannot see it, but that's what
Well,
it should
that's
look
pretty.
like.
Oh
chocolate.
yeah,
It literally
it's
looks like
super
a
foamy.
waterfall under the head of the beer.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's really
That's
beautiful.
cool.
It's beautiful. I
I
wonder.
almost poured a bunch on my keyboard right there.
Same.
Oh god.
Skill.
Yeah.
I feel like this is also a beer where it's kind of very important what kind of beer drinking device you're using?
Yeah, usually
for
pickle
it?
jars aren't the best.
Well,
For
so
anything.
this is, I actually, just so everybody out
They're
there
good for
knows,
holding
I
pickles.
discontinued the pickle jars. They're no longer part of my beer
Oh.
drinking. I'm now working
Makes sense.
entirely from coffee mugs.
Well, that's
Me
good
too.
because this kind of has a coffee flavor. So
Okay. Hey, just a message to the GameBrew community. If you live in California and feel like donating some Pilsner glasses to Ian, give us a shout on the Facebook.
We'll give you some
because
games.
He'd be more than happy to take. We will give you some
We will
games.
Allison.
give you some games.
Please. I'm so,
So-
tired of him not having
we didn't really
Pilsner
actually
glasses.
talk about this beer, what it tastes like. Has everyone tried it?
Yeah.
So it's really creamy, as you would expect it to be, just based off what it looks like.
Yeah, it's super creamy. It's got like a toasted thing going on.
You know, I didn't like it at first. I thought it was too loafy, like it's thick.
Yeah, it is. Thick.
But it's one of these beers. The more you drink it, the more it starts to settle in, and it's not as harsh as what I thought. And harsh is a strong word. It's not as like filling as what I thought it was. It
Yeah.
really is quite smooth. It goes down easily. It's a drinking beer. It gets
It's a-
better the more you drink it.
Which is it's a drinking stout, and not all stouts are like that, which I appreciate. Like,
No.
I definitely would come back for number 2.
Yeah, and like one thing I don't like about Guinness is like I feel like I am eating a hunk of bread every time, and it just has like this nagging flavor in my mouth, and I don't like that. Where this doesn't really have that. I really like this beer.
Yeah, that's what I thought about it, because it looks like Guinness, but then when you like start sloshing it around, you know, it doesn't move like Guinness. It's less molassesy and more watery.
Man, what type of Guinness are
Big
y'all
fan.
drinking? Jeez. I can drink Guinness when it's like 100 degrees out, but usually it has to be from the tap though. If you don't get a draft, that's where you stop. That's where you're
Yeah,
failing.
I don't know. I've never really been a huge fan of Guinness. Sorry,
Yeah.
No, that's
everyone.
Corey, were you able to find it?
Oh yeah,
The
no,
Merlin
we have Total Wines all up and down the area I live at, so I had no problem. I've actually had this beer before. It is
cool.
easily found all over the place in Las Vegas. So if you ever make a trip out to Las Vegas,
Wow,
you can find it at a lot of the places that serve more craftier stuff. Since it's a California brand, I think they get a bit more those beers. But I'm a big stout person, so this is like the perfect episode for me to be on this.
It's so this
Awesome.
one is so smooth, and it's not like sometimes stouts can be bitter because of that toastiness, but this one is like it's pleasant. I wouldn't call it sweet, but it's like a well-made latte.
It has a sweetness to it. But yeah, I
Uh,
really like it.
In Pennsylvania, apparently you can't get it right now, so
Oh,
I am drinking Sticky Monkey by Firestone.
Oh man, sticky monkey.
Monkey.
Sticky Monkey. It's a quad, so it's 11.5% alcohol by volume.
Damn,
I'm sorry, 12.5 alcohol by volume.
Oh.
Excuse me.
because 11.5
Hold
wasn't
on.
enough.
Let me read the. It's different because it changes depending on when they brew it. This is the 2018 version, so 11.4. And yeah, it's a barrel aged quad. Uses turbinado brown sugar from Mexico. Yeah, it's from Mexico. Turbinado. So it's like very sweet. It's very molassesy.
Uses that
It's really
tornado brown sugar.
Yep. Turbinado.
Tornado.
And Allison, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking Pinot Noir, and it's called the Prophecy. It's got a cool label,
Ooh,
and
very-
I picked it because it was magical to go with your guys' stuff. Well, except for
So
Dan.
magical.
So magical.
Yeah, and
I
it's
don't know. This monkey could be.
it's really
magically
acidic,
Sticky.
really acidic, cherry, raspberry, like, but like velvety and smooth. It's just acid in my face. It's good,
cool.
but
The only acid in your face. No, I'm not even gonna go there. Okay. Nope, not walking down that path. There are no good jokes that come from going down that road. So what have we all been playing this week?
I have been playing Breath of the Wild, and I'm like hardcore into it now. It's
Will-
really, really good.
You know that's a Zelda title, right?
Yeah. Right.
Huh?
It's a
No,
game-
I play as a little forest dude. It's Tom Bombadil.
you figured out who he is. I'm proud.
No, it's fun. Like, I think I see the appeal. Like, I've got a lot of stressors going on in life right now, and I just sat down one day. I was like, I just want to run around without anyone telling me what to do, without any responsibilities. I can just go do what I want. and it was this really nice escape from all the stressors I've got going in my life. And it was just, so I think I finally get the open world thing. And it was nice. Like, it's been really good. You can play for 5 minutes and, like, make some progress towards whatever you're running towards, or you can play for 2 hours and, like, really get some stuff accomplished. And it's been a lot of fun. I love it. And I've also been playing a mobile game. It's less of a game, more of like a anti-stupid app called Elevate.
Okay.
And Elevate, you take some... It handles reading, writing, various types of mathematics, and it's all mental based to help you speak more eloquently, do mental math quicker, write better in terms of like word recognition, so your vocabulary builds, and speak more eloquently off the cuff, extemporaneously. And you gain levels, so to speak, as you get better at it, and it does an analysis of you, and then each day it populates with your recommended tasks to work on. And like, so I'm weak at mental math, so math tends to appear on there like every day, and it keeps upping my skill, and it trains you how to do different things, and if you're not good at it, it teaches you some different techniques, and so that's been pretty cool. I've really enjoyed that. It's less of a game, but it feels like a game because it's a tiered system, and you can see your progress.
Yeah, it sort of gamifies the learning experience. Allison, what about you?
I played Pokemon Go this week because last week was a community day. So
Yay.
I caught 8 shiny Eevee.
What's the difference between a regular one and a shiny one?
It looks different.
One's shiny and one's not.
That's literally it.
Okay.
It's just, it's like, it's having cool props because you got it and there's a low chance of getting it.
Got it.
So you have to just tap on every Eevee and there's a small percentage chance that it'll be a shiny.
Got it. It's like foil cards from Magic.
Right. But the thing is, like, there are 8 evolutions you need, so you need at least... Yeah, you need at least 8 in order to have 8 shiny evolutions. So, yeah.
So you're ready. You're ready to go.
I'm ready. Well, I'm kind of upset because I went around with my friend who lives in a more populated area, and they had a system. It was down to a science. They drove us around in circles and parking lots, and it was impressive. But he caught 24 sitting next to me, and I caught 8. Like, what is life?
I mean, baby, don't hurt me.
Yeah. I'm so upset. But other than that, it was a lot of fun.
All right. Chris has been busy doing some research on some other things, so we're going to skip him. Research. So we're going to skip him until next episode. But Dan, what have you been up to?
So if you remember, like 27 episodes ago, whenever we talked about Dead Cells.
Ooh, this was the game I got for Christmas.
Yeah, you got that for the holiday stuff.
Yeah.
Ching, ching, ching,
and-
ching, 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 ching.
Oh, that's coming up soon. But they recently like released the game because it was in alpha or beta.
Gamma.
I don't know. It was a pre-release for a really long time.
It was in.
But just a few weeks ago, they released the game in 1.0. So it's like
Officially.
this is the game now.
Yeah.
And they added a whole bunch of stuff. There's like a time trial mode.
Yep.
They updated the art style of all the enemies from what they used to.
So much better.
The explodey particle effects are still there, so I love that. And they like changed some of the level design a little bit, and how you get powers and level up powers that you used to use. It's still pretty cool. Or it's never stopped being fun. That's one of the cool things about it.
You've taken a shining to this game. It's sort of like a pet game of yours.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where I can pick it up and play it for a while, and it's just to play, just kind of like Will said, except different.
You know what's funny? I was doing some news reading lately, and I noticed like Dead Cells is making its way on all the big boys like IGN and whatnot.
Yeah, and it came out for Switch too, and it would be a great Switch title if you don't own this game yet. I would recommend that as a platform for it. I picked back up Doom this week, the new Doom for PC, and playing.
You were playing it on PC or Switch?
On PC. So I have it on Switch as well, but I don't know, like I like it. I'm glad it's there, but it's so much better on PC. If you only have a Switch, buy it on Switch, I guess. But if you have a PC, play Doom on PC. It's so much better. And also, I started playing it with a controller this time, and I really like it better with a controller on PC than I liked it with a keyboard and mouse. Yeah, it's just like it's super smooth. It feels great. It's nice to be able to sit back. Unless it's a multiplayer game, I really prefer to use a controller. So like obviously Overwatch, things like that, I'll be using a mouse and keyboard. But if I can play on a gamepad, I will.
I feel like for me, that whole thing is like, if it's a first-person shooter, I'll probably use mouse and keyboard. But if it's like more of an action game, or like Far Cry, I'm playing with a controller. I don't know.
Yeah, right. I guess there's kind of a line there. And then last of all, but most important of all, we're saving the best for last. Corey, what have you been up to, man?
So I play lots of stuff on a regular basis, but more specifically this week, I've been focusing a lot on Monster Hunter World. It just released on PC last Tuesday.
Okay.
Thursday, week from last Thursday.
Tell us everything about it, because I played it on Xbox and I really loved it. But the only reason I quit playing is because I didn't have a community. So
So thankfully I have a play group that I play with, and then also my gaming community as well has a play group. So we have a pretty consistent group playing it right now. The game is good. There's some Steam hiccups that they've been having issues with, which is kind of unfortunate. Capcom, has been notorious for not doing great with its PC releases, and when they finally felt that they would,
Capcom.
Yeah, I know,
that
right?
paragon of shiny, perfect releases and finished games.
Yeah, they're special when it comes to those sorts of things. But in this case, unfortunately, there are some online issues with regards to one issue we've having, like one of our group mates has been crashing quite a bit, and he has a decent, better than my PC actually. He's having issues where it's just crashing, no reasons as to why. People crash out of multiplayer sessions randomly at times.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, and you can see it if you look at the Steam reviews. It's actually it's getting blasted in Steam reviews right now because of that. But the good news is, if it's working for you, the game's great. It shows off all of its qualities greatly. So when it does work, it's fantastic. The only issue is that you do have to, unfortunately, hope that it works sometimes more so than having it work.
Would you say that it's something that you should wait to get for PC? Is it frustrating enough that it's almost not playable right now for you?
If you haven't bought it already, I would wait to see at least what the reaction is to this first major patch that they're releasing. If people have been like a hawk watching the SteamDB website that has the listings for patches being updated and such, and Capcom behind the scenes clearly has been doing stuff, because there's like a handful of fixes that are clearly being waited to be distributed, but there's been no ETA on when the patch is coming. If the patch comes and it fixes a lot of the issues people are having, then it's a great release. But if this first patch isn't good enough, I'd probably wait till a Steam sale, honestly. Unless you haven't played it, because the game is great. Like, it's, of the Monster Hunters that have come out in the last 5-6 years, it's probably one of the best ones, and that's just from the perspective of if you've never played one before, it's easy enough to get into.
Are you a new Monster Hunter person? Is this your first Monster Hunter, or are you?
I've played a few here and I've played a few here and there, so I wouldn't say I'm like necessarily a veteran, but I'm definitely experienced. I played a lot of Try on the Wii back when, so that's probably, I would probably say that's where most of my experience is at. I like it a lot. I think it's an easy play, although it's sort of. I think a lot of people always say, like, things are the Dark Souls of things. Monster Hunter is the Monster Hunter of things, right?
Yeah.
So it's. I think if you've never played the game before or any parts of the series before, I think it's a good starting point. And I think there's enough there for people that are veterans of the series. They might have some gripes because it takes away some of the, like, ridiculously
super nitty gritty.
Yeah, the really grindy, weird things that you wouldn't know unless you did it or looked up a wiki online, sort of things.
To be clear, I played probably about 20, 30 hours of this on Xbox, and there's enough that you already need to look up on wikis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
for a first time.
Yeah, but I mean, it's great. We'll see. As I said, we'll see how this patch comes. Hopefully, it fixes some of the issues that some of my people in my play group have been having, because it definitely is marring the experience. But
got it.
Yeah.
All right, so before we move on to segment number 1, I just wanted to real quick give you an opportunity to talk I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk specifically about what you do and VGC. So tell us all about it, man. What's the thing?
Yeah, so so VGC has been I think we kind of at this point have referred to ourselves as a streaming collective. We've been sort of a group of like-minded individuals for, as I said, since about 2009. We actually predate Twitch a little bit, which is one of those like hoity-toity things, but we were streaming on weird sites before Twitch sort of came about, and then once Twitch came along, it made everything better. But I'm sure I'll talk about that in spades. But overall, we're a pretty small but friendly-ish community. We have
Friendly
as friendly as the internet gets.
Friendly-ish.
Yeah, I mean, we have our unique individuals with varying tastes of all sorts of things. Recently, because of them, I got into video game vinyl collecting, which is a very scary topic. We have fans of all sorts of things: anime, video games, music, regular television stuff. But overall, it's sort of a group of like-minded individuals all over the world. And we try to keep up streams. We're not the biggest community ever, but we like who we have and what we do, and that's what we are.
How many of you are there?
So our community is about 50 to 75 people strong.
Oh, cool.
We've had more viewers depending on popularity of streams and games and such. There's about 10 people or so that I consider people that I have as streamers, people that I've sort of added into the community as people that are a value add to our group. So people that have unique personalities or gaming styles or interests that are interesting. I mean we've been around for a long time, and a lot of the people in the group have been around for a long time as well.
Cool.
That's really cool.
Nice.
Awesome. We'll get to hear a lot more about that later, and I'm super excited to dig more into that as we dig more into streaming. But first half of the show, we are going to dig into our first online experiences. That is our first online gaming experiences, not what you were thinking. You get your mind out of the gutter. Our first online gaming experiences.
ASL?
Which is actually a thing we'll get into later. Tell us about your first online gaming experience.
Okay.
Aside from ASL.
Okay. So do you guys remember the channel G4?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love
The
it.
G4 Tech TV, all that kind of
Rest
stuff.
in
Adam
peace.
Sessler is my husband. He just doesn't know it.
Oh, well, Adam Sessler, if you're out there, that was a proposal. You better send us a reply.
Saying you better put a ring on it.
Listen, if you like it, put a ring on it. So there used to be this show on G4 called Portal, which was basically this guy named Dave and a fake computer person named Val, and they would talk about like the things going on in different worlds. Like it was like some sort of crazy like, whoa, there's all these different dimensions you can go to, and they would just talk about a whole bunch of different online games. Allison, I keep seeing you nodding along. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I watched everything on
Okay.
G4 back in the day.
I know, me too. I'm such a loser.
Me
But
too.
that's great. But there was one game that they like went to all the time. There was like a lot of EverQuest stuff. I forget. There was like a lot of Second Life things that they did, because this was back when Second Life was big. But there was a game that I started playing because it was on the show a bunch, and it looked pretty cool. It was called Anarchy Online.
Oh my goodness.
Actually, it's still called.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember
Yes!
Anarchy Online.
Yes, Anarchy Online. It's still around, which to me
what is this? What
is
is it?
amazing. So Anarchy Online is basically it's an MMO. It's an MMORPG. It's by a company called Funcom, which is
Oh, yeah.
a
You know it's
Norwegian
good.
company.
I know
Called by
Funcom.
And just to date it was released in 2001, and that's probably like 2002, 2003 is whenever I was playing this. And yeah, basically you're on a desert planet called Rubica, and you are just a new colonist. So it kind of like throws you in, and there's all these different classes you can be. So it's basically like, imagine World of Warcraft, kind of, but with aliens.
It looks good for 2001. I'm impressed.
Oh yeah. It was like I have very fond memories of playing this game. Of course, I was like 12, so I was not great at it, but
I'm sure you were great.
Yeah, I was a nano mage, which was...
Is that space
which
magic?
is like the... Yeah, it's space magic.
I love space magic. Is my favorite.
Yeah, it's like you use like psychic attacks and stuff. So there's like laser guns, but there's still like swords, and you're fighting robots and other things. I was really into it. Like, it was like a super cool thing. But like, I told all my friends, I was like, hey, you should play this game, and they're like, no.
Dan,
I don't wanna do that.
So you're saying this was like the first thing that you really got into online?
This was like the first online game that I played.
How do you think playing this game shaped how you thought about online gaming? Like, clearly it made you happy about it. Like, some people may have walked away feeling like, oh my gosh, this is too much, or like, were there any things that you were like concerned about after playing, or was it all just rainbows and sunshine?
I mean, the only thing that was concerning to me was I was kind of a kid. I was a very introspective kind of kid too, so the getting out there and finding groups or like playing with other people was not my bag. So that part was not great. But I mean, I did play with some people online. Like, I'd be in the same dungeon as somebody else, or like the same area, and then we'd team up and we'd be like, hey, can you help me do this thing, or like kill all these elites, and then be like, yeah, which is totally an enemy type that I remember. They're like little rat things called elites.
I assumed you were talking about like a bunch of elites.
Elites, yeah.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't. I was not high enough level to do that. But I don't know. I have fond memories of it because it was like, there's so many games like it now that I have played, and I'm just like, man, that was like the first one. I did log in a few years ago and like play it, and it was like so different from what I remembered, but still the same. So I got like blasted with nostalgia, but also I was like, oh, everything's a little bit different. It's not exactly what I remember, but it's good. It's still good.
Awesome. Will, what about you?
So, I can't remember which was first. It was either and probably Counter-Strike Go, or excuse me, just Counter-Strike, not Go.
Counter-Strike.
My first experience was in college.
So you can imagine how that went, because that was in 2000, so that was 8th grade-ish, something like that.
8th grade, but in 2000, Counter-Strike was already pretty well developed, and I don't feel... I mean, I don't know, I was never part of a Counter-Strike community, but you kind of had, like, your own space to go to there, if I'm correct.
It was really good back then. It's not what it is now. It's not the tumultuous environment. It wasn't the tumultuous environment that we have now. You had servers that you could go to that were very... There's a lot of camaraderie with that, and they were very fraternal. So you would get in with a good group of friends, or you would start your own server, whether you set it up or paid a company to do it for you, and it was like home base. So when I wanted to play, I hopped on with a group of friends that I had that I played with for like 10 years, all the way up through college and then some. And we would just hop on our server that we all ran, and we customized the way we wanted it. And we had a community. People came there to play because we moderated it in a certain way, and they liked it, and we kept a good environment. And it was really, really great. And that's what was so special about Counter-Strike, and that's why it's so near and dear to my heart. And it really is hard to play now because it's not like that. Standalone servers are not what they once were, and those communities, as a result, have suffered. And but that was great. The other game that I played early on, not nearly as much, was Phantasy Star Online. Fantasy with a PH. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I do. That game was... Was that a Dreamcast game?
That was a Dreamcast game. And
Dreamcast
that was
and
the
GameCube.
worst son of a bitch to try to get up and running of all time. When you could get it running, it was fun. It was like this third-person, over-the-shoulder, like, slash-em-up sort of team thing where you'd run through this fantasy forest and kill things. But it was a lot more trouble than it was worth. That I did not enjoy as an early online experience, and it kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. Had it not been for Counter-Strike and that fraternal environment, I don't know that I would have latched on to online play and online friendships as quickly as what I had.
Interesting.
Man, that Dreamcast was way ahead of its time.
So far ahead.
It was ahead of its time, but it was like half-assed.
Well,
Well,
no, it was
just
the
the
awesome.
It's the stuff didn't match the technology was the problem. Like the technology was great. It just nothing.
There was nobody
to the level
making
of
games
it.
for it because PlayStation
Yeah.
had
Well,
already
they-
fucking taken all of the wind out of their sails.
Yeah, Sega already burned its bridges when with the whole Saturn debacle. So
Yeah.
I was a victim
I was
Yeah.
of the Saturn debacle.
Wow. Allison feels victimized. That's a topic for another day. But speaking of Allison, first online gaming experience.
So I was going to talk about Neopets until I realized like there's not really much to say about the online experience.
Are you sure?
No, you talk about
Are you sure?
Neopets right
could,
now.
People could see my shit. That's
Are they
that's
still
all I
alive?
interacted with people on. Like I played games, little mini games, but it was by myself, so that's not really anything. So I'll just talk about Legend of the Green Dragon
Okay.
because I did kind of brief with you guys on this, but Legend of the Green Dragon was this text-based RPG
Oh,
style
here we go.
game.
Text-based RPGs.
And it was my first online gaming experience because I was on dial-up. I was back in the middle of nowhere.
Did
I
anyone
didn't-
have like high-speed internet back in like early 2000s or late
No.
90s?
No.
Anyone here?
I got on pretty quickly. It wasn't like immediately. It was probably like 2002, 2003 for me.
No.
Yeah, I didn't have high speed until like I left for college.
Right, same. 08, I got high speed. But yeah, I played this, and I just remember staying up really, really late. For one thing, it was like Dungeons and Dragons online,
Right.
so I really loved it for that factor.
But it had
and-
its own rule set, correct?
Right. Well, I mean, each dungeon master usually does, but yeah, you jump in and you make a character, male or female, and you decide what race you are. And I was an elf, and then you just kind of start going into the text-based options of fighting in the forest. And when you're low, you die a lot, but it just happens. So you got to go in and fight in the forest these different creatures that they've made, and it's randomized. And so they would be really funny things too. Like, I mean, back then I fought Bill Cosby with pudding pops, which is something completely different from fighting him today. That had a completely funny connotation then. Now it's just weird. But like you would just do that in the forest, gain XP, level up, and then they had like a board in the town square where you could RP. And so you RP'd your character until you were bored, and then you went and you got XP, and you got items, and you got married, and I was turned into a vampire at some point in the forest. And like there's just different events that happened, and it was really, really fun. I played that for way too long, to be honest.
That's awesome.
I remember doing this when I was a kid. I played a game called AustinMUD. Austin is in like Austin, Texas, but it's based out of Denmark where the server is or was. And you had to telnet in, and it was text-based. It was like World of Warcraft.
Whoa, okay.
But it was all text-based.
Telnet. Oh my god.
And
Yeah.
it was
That's not
Yeah.
safe.
You like talked to people, you like moved around, you could party up and do things. It was like an MMO, but words on a screen.
Okay, so I had this. I thought I was like special because I had this very same experience with the World of Darkness online text RPG. So World of Darkness is like Vampire the Masquerade. It's the White Wolf stuff. Because I used to play tabletop White Wolf stuff with my family all the time, and so like when I realized that there was an online thing, I dove right into it, and I would spend hours in like different like spaces in this world, and it was just like Allison and Will described, where there's different spaces. Combat wasn't so much a thing; it was much more about RPing because that's kind of how White Wolf is. It's like less rule heavy and more like experience heavy in a way. And I had a serious like quote air quotes relationship with a person when I was like 12 years old on my World of Darkness gaming account.
Same.
a little
I was
sketchy, dude.
married
No,
to
yeah.
a guy named Dragon Slayer, and he was my boyfriend, if anyone asked me.
Yeah.
Oh my god. guys.
No,
know.
so
This is not okay.
So there was a point where like things were getting like I don't know if I should talk about this, but I'm gonna
too
I'm gonna
serious?
talk
Was it getting too serious?
It was getting too serious. It was getting like text physical. Like there was like some borderline sexting going on, and I was like 12, and whoever was on the other end of this, like man, woman, whoever it was, like asked me at one point, like, "Hey, like I'm really having a good time, but I just want to know like how old are you?" And I was like, honestly, I'm 12 and they never spoke to me again.
Oh my god. This person was like 22 or something
I
like
don't
that.
At
remember.
best.
I feel like I don't even know if they threw a number out there, but yeah, definitely things
That
sort
is
of
sketchy.
went downhill from there. But that
Well, I don't think. To their credit, whenever he said he was 12, they just cut all contact.
Yeah.
They were like, "Nope."
yeah, which is
Or maybe
which is true.
it was someone younger and they just felt intimidated.
True. All that
I'm 8, and this is not too serious for me.
all that experience I had. Anyway, that's out there in the universe now. Chris, what about you?
You haven't gotten your cootie shots yet. Nope, not gonna do it.
No.
I hope my parents don't listen to that episode.
That's so good.
On Corey.
They're going to. Hi, Mr. and Mrs.
Don't
Richard.
tell them anything on Corey. You're sworn to secrecy. Make sure you're paying attention to what Dylan and Brandon are doing on the internet. It's important. Okay, sorry. Chris.
So, I think the first game I remember playing on the internet was, and I think I've talked about it before, is this game called Acrophobia.
Mhm.
Did
I
anyone
remember
play
talking
this?
about
What?
I didn't,
No,
but I remember you talking
I've never
about
heard
it.
about it.
So basically, it was like this. It came out in like '95 or '96, and you joined up and you got into a room together with like a bunch of other different people, and you had to do. They gave you like an acronym of like 6 letters, and you had to make up an acronym for that, like what those 6 letters meant. And so it could be like really creative or really funny or really stupid, and then like the 2 winners of 3 rounds like that would do a face-off of 3 quick rounds to win, and it's just round based, and it was a ton of fun and really addictive, but like such a weird concept.
Dude,
And, like, it was so much fun though,
that looks super fun.
and like it's super simple, but like it was a lot of fun.
You know
Go
what's
ahead.
interesting is that there's sort of, so it's sort of like there's a ladder, right? Like in the room, people are winning against other people, and then the best people go up against the best people.
Yeah, so you're voting for like your favorite
Right.
acronym that is made.
So that's something that you don't see
That's
a
cool.
lot in terms of online gaming anymore. But Super Mario Tennis has a ladder format, which is interesting.
Oh, cool.
Online.
You know what?
Hmm.
I'm going to send a little message to the Mandatory Fund Commissioner. I don't know if he knows about this game.
Oh.
And
This is the game that he would like.
He would like
Yeah, I think
this.
he
He
might.
probably,
You probably would.
I'm going to send him.
yeah,
I'm gonna send him a text
It's
message.
nice
It's been a
you
while
help
since
him
we heard
out.
from him. So.
Yeah.
probably worked in
Even
development.
though
for
he's
that.
so abusive.
Allison, you hear from him more than I do, so shush.
But
Aw.
the game that probably shaped my online experience the most was Diablo 2.
Oh,
I played the living shit out of
interesting.
that game in middle school, to the point that I was having dreams about playing that game. Like I was the person collecting the loot in the dungeons,
That's awesome.
but like from a top-down perspective.
Do you think that like shaped or foreshadowed your other online gaming in any way? Like, yeah, I know you have a deep love for loot still to this very
Yeah, I mean,
day.
it probably helped a lot because that was like I learned how to do all that stuff. Like when I first started playing that game, I had no idea what I was doing. I was trying to do like a melee attack necromancer, which was stupid.
right.
But it was such a cutthroat world. Like when you were joining servers, there was this thing, so you could only have so much stash space. So you have to create low-level mules to hold your other stuff, and to get your stuff to another character that you had to like basically just throw it on the ground and switch back to that character that you want to put it on,
And then go pick it up.
and then go pick it up before someone finds it. So I remember going into games like looking for other people's like stuff that they were dropping, and finding loot that
Did you
way.
ever like clean
so
somebody
You were a
out?
scalper.
Oh yeah, I scalped people and I cleaned people out. It happened to me like once or twice, but I definitely did it a bunch. I mean, I was in middle school. I didn't know. That's. I mean, I knew it's
These
rude,
aren't real
but
people.
like,
Terrible human being.
He was 12. Everybody's a terrible human being when they're 12.
I guess that's what
Fair.
happens. That's how you get rogues in PvP for WoW.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly how that happens. Corey, what about you, man?
So I had a lot of early online gaming experiences, from cousins having computers that I didn't have to Anarchy Online. I do remember that. I remember seeing the
Yes.
trailer in a PC Gamer demo disc, and then asking
yes.
my parents for it for my birthday, and then receiving it. And because at the time I was on, I think that was before I had broadband, I couldn't play it because I had dial-up, and the patch was like a gigabyte, and like
Oh my
in,
gosh.
like, 2001,
So
a
big.
gigabyte is like
It takes so long.
yeah. I had to leave. I told my parents, I'm like, because we had America Online, I'm like,
Don't
I have
touch.
to download this patch. Don't touch the computer. I'm so sorry for the phone bill this month. And I finally got in. I did get to play some. But I think the first one of real note, I remember playing MechWarrior 3 on MSN's
yes.
Gaming Zone, which was a service that no longer exists, and this
Nice.
predates Xbox Live by got to be 4 or 5 years.
Oh, you remember
decade.
GameSpy?
MechWarrior.
Dude, MechWarrior
yes.
3 was so fucking good, though. This
Yeah,
game was
it was
amazing.
great.
It was so good. I remember I tried to get into a clan because they had clans back then in that, and man,
Do
it's
you
just
like
like
Clan the Wolf. Or
it was. Oh man, I remember running around as one of the little dudes shooting up all the big dudes, because in MechWarrior you have the little mechs and they do little damage, but they're hard to hit by the bigger mechs. But if you get hit once, you're basically dead. So I was the little mech running around shooting all the dudes, and I got killed a lot more than I killed, but it was still fun. And so yeah, MechWarrior 3 and probably Age of Empires 2
Ooh,
were the two
nice.
big ones. And I remember I had a few friends at school that also had the internet and also had a computer and also had Age of Empires 2. And I remember talking in school, hey, let's set up to play, this weekend. And then we'd have to call each other to coordinate it, because there's, obviously no Discord, no Steam, none of that.
Yeah.
And, playing it with each other against computers all the time. Like, because I didn't want to play
Yeah.
against them, and
Yeah.
they didn't want to play against me, and you didn't want to play against random people online, so you played against the computers as a group. Which is, like LOL nowadays, but, Age of Empires, like, you built walls around your towns and did that. But I think my fondest memory starting off, other than I also was like Will and played Counter-Strike later on, was Xbox Live. I actually had an Xbox at release, and I got into Xbox Live right after it launched, way back in, I want to say 2002 at this point. And I remember very fondly playing Unreal Championship and acting like a junky little 12-year-old, yelling at kids over the internet and calling people trash over that crappy Xbox Live microphone that plugged to the controller, because I just happened to be, I was too good for those people. I probably wasn't that good.
Dude, you were killing it.
I probably was, right? Like, had to be. I'm telling everybody that I'm, like, smashing them. Yeah, I'm smashing it. And their moms, too, because I'm a 12-year-old, and this is where we go with these jokes.
Yeah, you're 12 and you're online. That's what
happens. But yeah, so that's got to be it. Like, I remember, and nowadays it's so crazy to see like the evolution of Xbox Live and what it is now, because back then, like, there was no common app. You bought, and you had to buy the, you put in your phone, your credit card number, or you bought the subscription cards at the store, but you never knew what was gonna be on Xbox Live next. And when Halo 2 finally came out, it was like the greatest thing ever, because it was the game that made Xbox Live what it is now. But before then, like, I had all these little games that you could play, like Unreal Championship, which I have very fond memories of.
Oh, I mean, the Unreal games were like such LAN party favorites of
So
mine, but
unreal.
I never played.
Fantastic.
That's what I'm here for, guys.
All right, well, I think we'll call it there. That is the first half of our show. We'll be back in the second half to talk about streaming, so stick with us.
It's your friendly neighborhood Allison here, and I wanted to thank you for listening to us babble and having fun with us here at the GameBrew podcast. Seriously, you're the best, because without our GameBrew crew listeners, I'd be talking to myself, and that's something that would get me institutionalized after a little while. Just make sure you're a full member of the team and support us in the best way possible by sharing us with your friends, because we want to reach out and touch them too. I don't mean in a creepy way, a purely platonic high-five-ish kind of way. Yeah. So follow us at the GameBrew and share us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever social media you use, because because we want everyone in on the fun too, and it'll help us out. You can get in on our partnership with Humble Bundle, which is super cool if you haven't used it yet. Give it a go. We talk about it all the time here by going to bit.ly/GameBrew. And if you think I'm done asking for your help, you're wrong. My genuine favorite thing here is to hear from you. So we'd love to get your input on topics and ideas about what to talk about or drink, because we run out of things to do sometimes, and I'm not the most creative, so definitely give us a hand here. Just DM us, comment on a post on our social media, email us, or tweet us by tagging @theGameBrew, whatever you prefer. We're really easygoing here, nothing too hard. So like us, subscribe, all that jazz, and keep being geeky with us. I love it. Bye!
Hello and welcome back to the second half of the GameBrew podcast, episode 37. We're going to check back in with the beer here real quick before we get to the streaming conversation. How are we feeling about our Nitros? Are we feeling good about them?
I'm halfway through number 2, so
It's good.
It's pretty good.
It's very smooth, very very drinkable. Not too much.
So I have a serious question. Like, it's Merlin.
Yeah, Nitro Merlin.
Like, I don't understand.
Like the wizard.
Like, where? Like, there's no wizard on the can. It's just like it's like some lions and something else.
Well, you're asking
bear.
all these
It's a lion and a
goddamn
bear. That's the
questions
Firestone.
about the beer.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
It's-
understand. Like, I was expecting, when I went to pick it up, I expected like Gandalf epically on the front, and no, it's like a constellation on the front is what it is.
That's what I clearly noted, like, the packaging looked gray or silver.
Yes.
Well,
it's because the
it's-
wizardry comes via Nitro.
Yeah, exactly. They say that on their website,
Yeah.
actually. They say it comes that way
Yeah.
because magic. Why not?
I
You
gotta
know?
say,
It looks pretty
actually,
magical.
I feel like the Nitro makes a big difference for this
It
beer.
really
It
does.
makes it much smoother and much more drinkable, and I prefer it to a straight up carbonated beer. Like, I want to know what like a Nitro Pils is like, or a Nitro IPA. Like, I'm super curious now.
It looks
I'm
really
interested
pretty.
to
I can't drink it. But
Yeah,
it
I'm
looks
interested if you can do that.
Yeah,
I don't know the answer
If-
to that.
I would like to know if you brew beer and you listen to the podcast, can you like send us a message and tell us if that's possible, and if it's not, why? And then we'll give you some free shit. And
I think Sam Adams
also
has
our
a Nitro IPA.
Who does?
Yeah, I feel
I
like
think
They do?
I think it's either Sam Adams or I want to say it's Sam Adams. I think Sam Adams does have a Nitro IPA because they promoted it before.
Oh.
In various
Guinness
occasions.
Guinness has a
Guinness has a
Nitro
Nitro
IPA.
Or is it Guinness? Yeah, no,
There's-
I have had that. It's like the only IPA I'll drink. I'm not a big IPA person, but
The
their
Sam
Nitro
Adams
IPA doesn't
does
taste
have
like
one.
IPA. Yeah,
Google told me.
I want to try that damn German helium beer that you can drink.
Helium beer?
It makes your voice all high.
does it really
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah, because it's like it uses helium whenever they brew it, so it's got
That's
it's like
awesome.
That's the gas that's released.
That
So
sounds
you
fun.
drink it
That's
and then talk like
super
Mickey
cool.
Mouse.
you should
Yeah,
definitely
it's
do a
super not
podcast
good for
on
you.
that.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be
It's
on
also-
YouTube for that.
Definitely do that.
I will not
It's
have the
terrible
highest
for you.
voice then. Yes, let's do it.
It's true.
Let's do
you
it.
will not.
So sad news, guys. Helium beer is
Yeah.
apparently an April Fool's joke.
Yep.
Oh god damn it!
Oh,
I thought it wasn't.
sad.
I was hoping it was real.
we just opt for some helium then. Just
Yeah,
just
let's
all
do
get
it.
together.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
just
Helium.
do that. Yeah.
This sounds safe. Let's do it.
So one of the things that I have never understood about gaming in the modern era is streaming. I have never connected with a streamer in particular. I've never watched streams of things to learn things. I usually go to written video reviews. And so today we wanted to dive into the topic of streaming because it's a huge part of online gaming today. And of course, that's why Corey is joining us. So Corey, you're the resident expert. And the first question I wanted to ask you was, what do you think it is about the 2010s that really made streaming mainstream?
Well, I think for one thing for sure, it's got to be that like high-speed internet has become available for most of the country. Obviously, there's some areas that haven't, but I definitely think that's part of it. I think also, with sort of the social media revolution and the more general moving towards, always on technology, like whether it be, being able to log onto YouTube and watch something at will, or being able to go onto Facebook and talk to your friends at will, etc. I think it sort of naturally evolved from that. And so I think definitely, like, high-speed internet in general definitely helped. I know when I was starting off streaming way back in 2009, we still had people that would come into chat and just chat, but they definitely couldn't watch the stream because even at that point, people were only streaming at like 800 kbps, which is like insane by today's standards. You're looking at minimum of 3 to 4K. If you're trying to do 1080p streaming, you're getting upwards of 10 to 15 if you're doing 4K streaming, and almost nobody's doing that at the moment because of technology not moving that quickly, or at least internet connectivity not moving that quickly. But I definitely think that's part of it. I think also, like, digital distribution of video games in general has become a bigger thing, and therefore those companies have been more cognizant of what the internet actually has to hold for video gaming in general. I think it's just that sort of natural evolution.
So that's kind of big picture in terms of what streaming is and why it's popular now. Why did you personally come to streaming? Like, what brought you to it?
So I randomly followed a link on a forum post. Actually, dead serious.
How all great things
nice.
of the internet start.
Yeah, it's as somebody who works in network security, I don't advise you ever doing that. But in 2009, or excuse me, actually in this point it was 2008. People clicked on links all the time on the internet, and I was one of those people. Somebody posted a thing. I think they were saying like, "Hey, I'm going to stream some Super Mario World on this," and I'm a big, for those who know me, I'm a giant retro video game nut. I have a giant video game collection that if I had that camera on, you could see sitting behind me, thanks to some people helping me out initially. So I was like, yeah, I'm in. Like, I'll watch because I'm a poor college student and I don't want to do my homework anyways, so I'm going to watch the stream for a while. And I got to know the people in the community, and then I ended up becoming the community manager of said community. And then we had a bit of a argument in the community, and then I went off to form my own community that was based off that community, which is my current community, Video Games, or VGZ. We started off by being called Video Games, and then we shortened it to VGZ.
Do you mind if I ask you what that argument was? Because it sounds like it's like this is like Luther nailing his 100 theses to the door of the church. It sounds like.
No, I don't think it was anything that crazy. It actually, funnily enough, the other community, who a lot of our community members who will totally be listening to this podcast and be judging me for talking about it, but they called it the Schism on their wiki.
Well, I totally nailed
Schism.
that.
Yeah. No, we just had a difference of opinions on where to go with the website, which they're great. Their community was awesome. We had a big wave of popularity, and once again, you're talking 2009, we had a constant like 200, 250, 300 viewers on a regular basis, which for the time was astonishing. Like 2009 is
crazy.
Not you didn't see it, and like as I said,
I didn't even know it was a thing back then.
Yeah, this was 2 to 3 years pre-Twitch, so like video game specific streaming stuff wasn't available. We were using a site called Livestream, which actually got privatized a while ago, I think by IBM, to do just internal like VoIP stuff. Like they don't even exist anymore. So like I don't even know if you could find pieces of our existence from back then, except for like people telling stuff in there.
So what was the direction that they wanted to go, and what was the direction that you wanted to go? If you don't mind, if you don't want to talk about it, it's fine.
No, it's not even that. It's like this was 9 years ago. There were many drunk nights in college where I tried to probably forget about it at this point. I think it was just in general like where we wanted to take the site. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it was actually because we were talking about trying to get off of Livestream. There was problems on their platform. We identified. Our group, because we were such a large group, got outreached by a competitor streaming service who no longer also exists. I think they were called Ufrag, if I recall correctly. It was like Ufrag TV.
It's a good name.
Yeah, it was definitely
That's
like
a good name. That's solid.
That's a good name. Yeah,
That's a good like 2010, 2011 like name.
That's exactly when it existed too, and this was still like pre-esports too. So I mean, like you had Korea esports. I remember watching StarCraft, pirated StarCraft streams from Korea in like 2008.
I did that too.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was great. Because I learned all about like K-pop and stuff because of it. It was great. But yeah, no, I think that was what ended up causing it. And so we had that discrepancy, if you will, and we sort of said no. Live stream. We've had issues with live stream. we're going to UFrag, and they were like, no, we're staying with you with live stream. We're like, all right, well, I'm gonna take the people that don't want to deal with this shit anymore. And we started VGZ, and that basically was it. And it probably was the wrong decision in the long term, just because as a group that was the big name at the time, and big is very, very subjective. It was sort of a thing where maybe it wasn't the best idea. Maybe we would have been a lot bigger if we didn't do that. But, the thing is I like the people that I have that I hang out with now. So that, and I think a lot of the community would agree that that's the reason why it's
quality over quantity. Speaking of community,
yes.
Did you, what kind of things did you do to build a community? Because that's one of the things with streams that I'm a little bit confused about, to be honest, is there is the chat a lot of times can kind of be its own world, completely divorced from what's going on in the actual video stream. And so there's sort of
it's like its own entity.
Yeah. So tell us about the chat. Is the chat good? Has the chat ever had problems?
So our chat has generally been good. When we first started out, a lot of our viewership was from some of the not so great mentionable sites on the internet. That I won't mention here, but you can find them essentially. And, so you'd have people coming in and shit posting, and that was, the thing is
Can you explain
sure.
shit posting?
Oh, like the idea of just posting stuff, like posting ASCII porn or ASCII, just giant things of ASCII in text chats. Because once again, this is, pre-Twitch chat where you have, automated moderators that do that sort of stuff. Nowadays, back then, you didn't have that. You had to moderate the chat by yourself. And when chat's flying by at a mile a minute, you're not catching the ASCII porn very quickly, or links to porn for that matter.
Hey, Corey, that's really great. But also, hey, if you want to meet hot, sexy singles in your area,
exactly.
go to www.danroutzishot.com.
That sounds
great
great.
place to go to.
I'm going now.
So, I mean, it was not easy, and I definitely think one of the things you sort of have to decide when you're getting into a community is, do you want to stop that discussion or not? If you don't stop that discussion, it can cause bad things to happen, but overall, people are generally happier. If you really kind of hardcore moderate, you might
slam
lose
that
some
band
fans.
hammer.
Yeah. So
Wait.
definitely not an easy balance.
Yeah, so you feel like you've sided on the kind of let people do what they want, or make sure that you're
our community is very much a rule one type, meaning that we have one rule, and that's don't be a dick. As long that's our
It's a good rule.
that was our back in
rule.
the day. We had that as our rules board. Like we had a link. In fact, I don't actually know if it's still on the site. We have a rules thing. Yeah, so even if you click on rules on our website nowadays, it still has in big bold text, don't be a jerk. Like that.
Yeah.
That's always been our thing. It's been a long time since we've probably had to ban somebody. We actually moved to using Discord for all of our chat. We use Twitch chat as well if people come in, but we use Discord as a unified chat service because it's helped us foster the community a lot better, which a lot of streamers are doing nowadays. Nice. They'll have a stream chat in Twitch, but then they'll also have their Discord. Generally, if it's for subscribers only, we don't have that sort of base, so we just have an open chat for people to come in.
That's cool. Maybe zooming out just a little bit, what do you think it is about streaming itself? I mean, one of the things you said was that, internet made it possible, but what makes it desirable? Why do people come to your stream? Why do you go to other streams? What is it about streaming that's different for you from just, a video or watching someone play in person?
I'm excited to hear a streamer's perspective on this.
So, from my perspective, it might be a little different. I grew up watching a lot of television and playing a lot of video games. I don't watch a lot of television anymore. I watch a lot of people stream. The personalities are more interesting to me. From my perspective, I'm just hoping people have a good time when they're watching me play and sometimes fail miserably at video games. Or even in my perspective, I tend to stream with original hardware, so I try to make that unique. I've been doing streams where I stream vinyls, video game vinyls, and other vinyls.
That's kind of interesting. So you stream vinyls. What do you mean by that?
It's been more of a recent development. I've really only gotten into it in the last about 2 months or so. I literally do a long play of a video game soundtrack, and we talk about it in chat.
Oh. Okay.
I actually have.
Okay,
I actually bought a decent record player because it's been a big subculture thing right now. Is A lot of video game vinyls. I see one actually in a camera, which is very exciting to see.
I'm imagining you like sitting in a big leather armchair
Which one
with
is
like
that?
a fucking cigar coat.
Oh.
That's clearly The Legend of Zelda. Is that an orchestral
It
or?
looks
Yeah,
like
it's an
Ocarina.
orchestral one that I got.
Okay.
The vinyl's really cool. It's
Chris is holding up a vinyl of a Legend of Zelda Ocarina like thing.
yeah, and so like the vinyl is really cool.
Oh,
yes.
whoa, it's green.
And
Yes.
each
Greenish.
side is 1/4 of the heart.
That's
Yeah.
very cool.
Oh, it's like half the
Definitely
heart
take
power.
a picture of that for them.
Yeah, I have a couple of pretty
Yes,
cool ones
please do.
too. I have a couple of pretty cool ones too that I've shown off on stream, and I have a few that I haven't showed off on stream yet that I'm planning to, and I'm always on the lookout for new ones. And there's actually been a lot of companies recently that have popped up that have done both legitimate and some illegitimate bootlegs of OSTs, which is great because sometimes you can't get stuff that you really want on vinyl currently.
This was from I Am 8-Bit.
They're one of the big ones.
This is really cool. So this is actually something that I wanted to ask you about. That is, watching video games be played on a stream is one thing, but there are clearly a bunch of different ways to use streaming as a medium. Like there are just streams of people's lives, or there are streams of people maybe playing instruments or whatever. So where do you think that is sort of going next, and like what's on the bleeding edge of stream
Content.
topics? Yeah.
I think the bleeding edge is tough. Right now, as I said, the one big thing is like people are trying to move into 4K. With technology-wise, that's been tough because the capture cards are just coming out. Internet connectivity is not there. But I think there's a lot of really cool ideas out there that I don't think people have fully explored yet. And I hope that in the future people can come up with really cool ideas because stuff have been doing that. There's been, Twitch started off as just straight video games, although people used to stream like movies and stuff on the side without telling other people. But nowadays, like you're saying, they have like even social eating streams, which I think is like the weirdest thing ever.
Social eating? So
yeah,
it's just like people
watching
eating?
people eat. Yeah, I'm not much on that. Allison, do you know something? I don't do anything
not
with that.
necessarily. I watch
Okay.
a couple. So I used to just watch like pro gamers, but now I'm kind of getting into the IRL section. So there's the people who are streaming
that place
their life.
is weird. Don't go in there. Don't go in there.
Charming Joe is one of the newer and now suddenly popular ones.
Is he charming?
His name is
He's
Is he charming?
so charming. He's also precious, and I just want to like put him in my pocket.
Wait, so okay, so what kind of things does Charming Joe stream?
Charming Joe streams everything. He karaoke's. He'll just randomly sing. He'll play a game of something like League or Heroes of the Storm. He'll eat his lunch while he talks to the people. Like he's plays instruments. He plays recorder. He's just ridiculously keyboard. He's ridiculously talented in a lot of ways, and he'll just ramble and do different things. And it's really, really cool.
There's a lot of people that have the opposite sex that are doing the same thing, but with different ideas behind it.
You mean low cut shirts?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When that's the one thing. If you go look at the most popular, like the 4 or 5 most popular categories on Twitch, and just scroll down a little bit, you will absolutely see people playing their game, which is great. Except the game is in a box about maybe 100 pixels on the bottom of the side, and on the big part of their picture is the camera that's looking at them, and they have Mondo cleavage, and they speak in a really high squeaky voice, and
I'm
they
just
thank
saying,
all
I
their
can make a
people.
lot of money. I should do it.
Yeah, like seriously. It's one of those things though that Twitch, it's gotten so big that Twitch almost can't do anything about it, and that's a whole, like, I could get into that. I don't want to get into that.
I actually want to come back to that, but I want to give Chris and Will a chance to weigh in here before we do.
Yeah, I'm not a big stream watcher, and so I tried it some in the past week, just kind of watching some stuff, maybe while I'm at work or, doing different things in different parts of my day. And the one place that I find that I enjoy it the most is actually while I'm at work. And it's not that I watch it, it's that it helps me get through the drudgery of parts of my job. It's just like it's like Law and Order, SVU. It's like this nice background thing that I'm interested in, but I'm only kind of like half paying attention to, and it calms me down, and it makes me feel like I'm participating in something that I want to do in some game that I'm interested in, while I'm, slamming my face on the desk at work, just trying to get all my crap done for the day before I can go home and do what I really feel like doing, So I found that it was really nice for me in that situation, but in almost any other circumstance, unless I just want to see what gameplay is like, or get some, tips and tricks on, Overwatch or CSGO players, I'm just not really... I get bored. It's like, why am I watching this?
Chris, you wanted to weigh in here.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to talk about one of the coolest things I think I've seen on Twitch was the Twitch Plays Pokemon. I thought that was, the most bleeding edge thing.
Twitch Plays...
Did you not hear about
card
this?
game?
That was pretty cool.
No,
that was neat.
Twitch played a Pokemon game, and it basically, I don't know exactly how it worked, but, people in Twitch chat would type a command and it would make the character
I saw Twitch playing Dark Souls.
Oh my god, that's awful.
They've gotten into a lot of crazier stuff with Twitch plays and then games you would never imagine them being able to play. But yeah, that's basically what happens is people type stuff in the chat, and then there's a bot that'll read the chat and then send the command to whatever apparatus they're using to connect to the game, basically.
Which is kind of funny because
that's so cool.
Well, it's also sort of like an inversion of what Twitch was maybe invented for.
Yes.
Playing games was originally the thing, and then watching people play games was a thing, and then playing games by watching people play games became a thing.
That's a very interesting thing, because I don't get behind streaming a whole lot, just because I've never been a person to watch other people play video games, because to me that seems silly. Because I'm like, no, I want to play the game. It's a game. I want to play it. I don't want to just watch people play it. That's I don't want to watch somebody play chess, because I think that would be really boring. I'd rather think about it while I'm playing chess. I don't know. It just weirds me out. My brother watches Ninja play Fortnite all the time. And I don't understand why. Because I'm like, why don't you just play Fortnite? Because it's the same game. It's just somebody else playing it. I don't understand why that is better to you than playing the game yourself.
I'm gonna send you some streams, and I'm gonna have you watch them, Dan, because this shocks me. Because I feel like out of anyone, you'd have more of appreciation for the talent level.
I have an appreciation for it. It's just I'd rather be doing it myself.
I feel like we need to send Dan streams of Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, no,
people
there's
doing
one...
Dungeons and Dragons stuff, and he would be yes,
those are
this.
those. But
I mean, he's seen Critical Role,
But
I do. I'm a big Critical Role fan.
There's this
and
really
that kind of stuff.
really popular one called the Family RP, and it's a bunch of people playing Grand Theft Auto with a mod that they're literally just RPing the characters in a world.
Yeah, RP stands for role playing, right?
Yes.
I'm not mistaken in that?
Yes.
Okay.
So they're playing a character in this world, and they're acting it, and people watch the whole story unfold from different characters' points of view. And it's really
like reality TV,
unique, and they get a lot of money.
But that's different. To me, that's different. I mean, I'm thinking about the ninja, or the people who are streaming
Dr.
League of Legends all the time.
Disrespect,
Dr. Disrespect. All these people who are streaming these games, that's super repetitive, and it's just watching the same person do the same thing over and over again. I don't understand it. To me, that doesn't make any sense, because I'm that to me is super boring. To watch something.
Usually, those people are 12 who are watching it. Usually,
yeah. Well, that's
they're really.
There must be a lot of 12-year-olds, because Ninja's making
Well, that's okay. Yeah.
Thousands of dollars.
This is the next question, right? If the audience is designed for a younger crowd, how is it that streaming is making so much money? Who are the people who are giving money to these streams? And I want to ask that to Corey in particular, actually.
I want to know and why. Tack that on.
Corey, your mic's muted.
Corey, your mic is muted. I'm sure you're saying brilliant things.
Oh my god, I've said a bunch of brilliant things. Holy moly.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh shit!
No one will ever. This is the podcast equivalent of deleting your Flareon on accident.
I've done that.
Wait,
yeah.
no.
I've done that before.
It's still in the.
It's
still in the thing.
It is. Some of it is. But no. So first of all, I'll say that VGZ unfortunately has almost never made money since day one. We've never been about the money. So there are communities that are like that. We actually were one of the first, though, that did get the Twitch affiliate badge, which is sort of like not partner, but it's the like step below partner. Awesome. We could get to partner if we averaged about I think it's 75 viewers a month, which is tough. You have to sort of reach out there, and that's something we've never 100% mastered, is sort of self-promotion and such. Damn, I had a lot of really good points in there
but
too.
in a broader sense,
I'm so sorry.
Who do you think it is that's giving people money, and why?
I mean, I think there are people like our ages that do it too. It's not just like the 12-year-olds. Like 12-year-olds obviously are, but it depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about the Cleave streamers, it's sad kids that would probably be giving
3 people at once, right? Cleave streamers?
No.
Cleave?
Yes, those. Yes. With the 2. Anyways,
with the
no.
2.
So with the 2. No, with those streamers, it's definitely, you could tell what's happening there. And there's been multiple articles about the sad stories behind that sort of stuff. Yeah. And that's human wish fulfillment at its finest and worst. I think with the case of Ninja and stuff, it comes to being there's a few things. There's the easy availability of getting Twitch Prime subscriptions. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you have a Twitch Prime account that you might not even know. With that, you can add a subscription to any person's Twitch channel, and you can just give that to anybody. So you could ask, if you're a 12-year-old, you'd be like, hey, Mom, can I, link your Amazon account to my Twitch account? And then you use your Twitch subscription to give it to Ninja. And then Ninja makes $2.50. Although knowing Ninja, and because of the deals that he's signed, he probably gets $3.50 or close to $4 per sub. But that's a whole other conversation.
So it doesn't actually matter that anyone's specifically donating. It's actually more that they make money per subscriber on a stream.
Exactly. The subscriber thing that Twitch added back in, I want to say 2014, 2013 at this point, was a big deal for streaming. Before then, you used to have people sending money to people's PayPal accounts randomly, which is
solely donations.
This is money
really
from
sketchy.
Advertisers, correct? I get a subscriber and advertiser pays me, right?
Well, so if you get a subscriber, no. If you get a subscriber, you're getting the money directly. It just goes through Twitch. So regular subscriptions work. It's a $5 subscription, although you can also do $15 and $25 subscriptions. Twitch takes half. Okay. If you have an Amazon Prime subscription, I think it's a little different. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but as I said, with Amazon Prime, you're already paying your monthly or your yearly subscription to Prime, so it's free. It's a free $5 subscription to whichever streamer you want to have to.
Okay, so here's my question. What does a subscription get me? Because I can tune into streamer X, Y, or Z whenever I want to see X, Y, or Z. Why subscribe? What am I getting?
So it depends. Streamers do tons of things with it. There are API hooks you could take out to other websites. So we were talking earlier.
Whoa. API hook.
Sorry. So you could take magical computer stuff. No. So
magical computer stuff, everybody. It exists.
Sorry. In the computer.
I do really appreciate that you're sticking with the magic and wizardry theme of the episode, however. Thank you.
So basically, you could have it so when the system knows that you're a subscriber, you can get access to things. Things meaning, like I said, with VGZ's case, we have our own Discord chat. Some subscribers, some Twitch streams, they'll allow you to get into their Discord chat, which you may have the possibility to talk with Ninja, for instance.
Okay,
I don't know if
so you're buying friends.
Kind of. I mean, you're also buying in. It's also kind of like buying into a community. It's kind of like Patreon.
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of like
paying
Patreon,
a
where
for a forum or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. You're paying
being
to
in a
be part of it.
fraternity.
Yeah, or being in a fraternity, exactly.
Oh,
yeah. It's just,
Actually,
in this
that's
case,
exactly what it's like. You pay your dues for that.
Yeah, exactly. You're paying your dues to be part of the fraternity of the Friends of Ninja, or the Friends of
Iota Alpha Nu,
Booby
if
Chick.
you were in the EM
That's
fraternity.
right. Shout out to my homies.
But yeah, so that's what that is. And a lot of the money comes from that. Although a lot of streamers have also put up PayPals and tip jars, and there's a couple of other websites out there that people put on their streams for people to tip them. And people do it. I've done it a few times for streamers that I like or I want to support their causes. One community that I follow pretty actively outside of VGZ is Loading Ready Run, who's a comedy troupe. They're a geeky comedy troupe. If you haven't heard of them, they're great. You can look them up. They're fantastic. But I subscribed to their Twitch for a while before Twitch changed its EULA, so now you can sub to your own channel. So now I'm going to start subbing to VGZ because I want my $2.50 because VGZ gets subscriptions. And so like I've supported them for a while because I like what they do. They provide me with entertainment. I feel it's appropriate to give them my money that Amazon gives away anyways, basically, in that case. And I have a couple of people I support on Patreon, maybe not necessarily streamers, but like video game content producers, because a lot of the times, a lot of the streamers are video game content producers outside of just streaming. There's Giant Bomb has their own streams, who's a pretty big internet community, gaming community. I'm trying to remember who I follow on Twitch, actually, off the top of my head. I follow some people on Twitch that I forget that I follow them sometimes, but
I only follow everybody who's in this chat.
All right, let me
because
let me ask you a couple of closing questions real quick. Who in the VGZ community would you recommend us going to watch stream?
Ooh, good question.
I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I think I produce a pretty good stream myself.
Wow,
All
that's
right.
no,
shameless.
toot your own horn. We all play the tuba. You should toot your own horn.
There's
man.
also the cool thing that he has where it all hosts. So as long as you follow their main one, you get to see everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And we also share credentials. So a lot of my people, like right now on our stream, we had somebody streaming. I think it was Chibi was streaming. He has our cred, so he can stream whatever he wants on there. We usually coordinate our own internal chat. So yeah, I mean, as I said, I toot my own horn a little bit. I think I put out some pretty good streams when I stream. I've been doing a little more often recently, mostly on Mondays and Tuesdays because of doing the sort of vinyl game stream. Although this past week,
let me know when the next vinyl stream is. I will definitely come hang out in the stream, and I'm getting my shit posting ready right now. Just so
fantastic. But yeah, no, I think a lot of the time, a lot of our streamers tend to stream on our VGZ TV channel because we like to stream for our people, and it's a lot easier to have everybody be there. It's also sort of a throwback to how we started because we've always done that, and it's only been more recently where Twitch has sort of supported communities having streaming sections and auto hosting and all that fun stuff.
Cool.
So
got it.
I like that.
Cool.
I like that.
Okay, so last question. I want you to tell us about your happiest or best streaming memory, either a stream you watched or a stream you were running.
Oh man, that's tough. I
know. That's why I'm here. I'm here to ask the hard questions, everybody.
It's a good question.
That's the hard questions. That's why they call it the GameBrew with Ian Richard. Dum, dum.
So I think one of my favorite stream memories, I streamed through the entirety of the Mother 3 fan translation soon after it came out.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm a massive Earthbound fan. It's got to be top 3 games of all time for me. It's an SNES cartridge I physically own, although I own a lot of them.
And to clarify, Earthbound is the second entry, I think, in the Mother series.
Yeah, it's Mother 2, but it was brought over to America as Earthbound because Mother 1 did not come out in America, and so they didn't want to start a series in the middle, and they didn't want to Final Fantasy it like they did with Final Fantasy, so they decided to go with Earthbound, which, I mean, makes sense considering you're bounding the Earth in the game. But anyways, I streamed through the entirety of Mother 3, and I teared up a little bit at the end. It was pretty emotional. I was in college. A lot of interesting things were going on in my life at the time. And so it was.
What about it was making you tear up?
The story is really great. If you haven't played it, I'm not going to spoil anything.
Okay.
Just go play it.
That's not normal for us on the GameBrew. We are big fans.
I don't want to spoil it. It's one of those games that you need to experience. I don't believe in it being. I could spoil it, but I don't want to. Basically, is what I'll say. Go play it. It's great, especially if you have a brother of some variety. I have a brother. He's great. I love my brother to death. That game has a whole sibling thing part of it, and it's great. Nowadays, it resonates with me a little more just due to the story and the content of the story and things going on in my life nowadays. But yeah, so I think that probably has to be it. Although I will say one of the most infamous moments we ever had on stream was in our early years in around the 2009 timeframe. We did a restream, legally or not legally, whatever, statute of limitations is probably gone by now, of the Video Game Awards on Spike.
Whoa.
Which was cool. We posted it all over the place. We had almost 400 or 500 viewers at the time. And then we told one of the communities to go fuck themselves live on stream because we hated them. But
Oh, God.
yeah, that was the thing that happened. It was great. It's a
That
great.
doesn't go over well normally.
Remember, to be fair, I was this was 2000. Yeah, it had to be 2009, 2010. I was in college. I was probably drinking at the time because it was a weekend.
We don't do that here.
And we had a lot of fun with it. So it was kind of like one of those things that had happened. It was a sort of it happened naturally. And I'm sure everybody in VGZ will remember that story fondly, at least some of the members that have been around since the beginning, of which there are many.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and shout out to VGZ.cx. If you haven't gone to check them out yet, please do. Everybody, also, everybody else on the show, thanks so much for being awesome.
Oh, yeah, shout out to my Twitter,
you're
too.
You're welcome.
My Twitter, VGZ Brennan. I'll post it. I'll have you guys post it in the show notes.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
We'll put it in the stuff.
Anything else you want to shamelessly self-promote?
Who, me? No.
Yeah.
No, that's it.
You're good?
Nothing? No?
No,
No, like, personal
dude, this
Facebook
beer was
posts
great.
or-
What is this beer? Firestone. Shout-outs to Firestone. Lots of shout-outs.
Yeah, Firestone.
Are you
hey,
sure?
if you want to
Are you
sponsor
sure you
us,
don't
we're
want to
for
shout
it.
out like the Corey Brewing beer since you shouted out your own stream?
No, I don't have a beer yet.
Yeah.
I might start brewing a beer now.
There you go. New goals.
No, but yeah, definitely shout out to Firestone Walker's Nitro Merlin. Really enjoyed that beer.
Yep.
Okay, that's it for tonight. Say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye,
Thanks,
everybody.
Corey. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, Corey.
Thanks for having me.
Goodbye, everybody.